Hello, welcome to the Matchbook Horse Racing Podcast, where this weekend we are turning our attention to the Irish Oaks and some excellent domestic action as far as I'm concerned in the UK as far as the Super Sprint goes at Newbury, which could provide some testing ground, judging by the weather. We'll see how that works out. It looks all right over in Ireland, and Micheál Deasy can tell us a bit more about that. What's the weather like over there, Dees? How are we looking?
Absolutely lashing here this morning. Absolutely lashing rain.
You're not exactly at the Curragh right now, are you? So
no, I'm a good bit further south now than the Curragh, but there was a lot of rain across the country yesterday as well, and there's due to be a bit of rain tonight in the Curragh. I was checking earlier, and there's rain overnight. I'd say it could be probably on the softer side of good. I don't think there'll be enough rain to really soften the ground. It's not going to be heavy ground or anything, but there's a bit of rain around at the moment. I was out digging my heel into the lawn this morning out to see what the going was.
Rixie, we all do the, Declan Ricks also alongside, we all do the heel test on track. I don't know how official that is, but I'm always out there digging that heel in going, oh yeah, I'm getting in.
Do you work in racing if you don't do the heel test, Tom? That is the question.
I long for the day when I can actually have my own stick and pretend I know what I'm doing with it.
Your magic stick.
I'm away off that. First of all, Rixie, is there going to be a hangover with regard to what we saw in the Irish Derby? Are they all going to be aware of something getting loose on the front end, or is that not realistically going to happen?
Yeah, look, I think that the Irish Derby was just one of those freak races, unfortunately. You never want any race to go like that, especially a Group 1, a classic. But yeah, look, I'm putting that down to a freak race. Look, we see it every now and again. It happens in every jurisdiction around the world. It can happen. Kudos to Padraig Bergy for winning another classic and basically stealing this one. But yeah, no, I'm sure the normal service shall resume on the Curragh this weekend. Fingers crossed.
How are the prices looking, DC? What have we got? What heads the betting currently?
Okay, so Iridessa is still at top of the betting at 3.6. Pink Dogwood is there at 3.9. Starcatcher is 5.9. Fleeting is 8.0. Manuela de Vega is 10.0, and Tony at de Vega is 13.5, and it was big prices than the rest.
Now, the thing, as a member of the UK, which I am residing over here, the thing I love about the Irish Oaks, from a domestic passion point of view, Rixie, is the Brits have got a great record in it, certainly a good recent record, and they got a strong contingent going over to try and get another one here.
Yeah, they do. You're not just kind of a decent record, but the trainers that they're sending, like Rafe Beckett, he's a classic winning trainer with fillies in his own right anyway, and he's very good with fillies in general. So yeah, look, the Brits always do well on their raiding parties in this race, and so you've definitely got to respect them. Sometimes it's very overplayed. You've got people going, oh, we don't want to go to Ireland to take on Ballydoyle and Coolmore and all this. But look, if you've got a horse good enough, and you've got a jockey good enough, and you've got a trainer good enough, come and have a go. As it's the Curragh is one of the kind of the fairest tracks around, so you'll have a good day.
Have Brits got some, or is it the home team that you think are better represented? They got the top two in the betting after all.
Yeah, no, they do the top two in the betting. Obviously, Pink Dogwood and Iridessa. I think at the prices you could potentially take the both on. Pink Dogwood obviously ran a cracker in the Oaks, where she was so wide throughout. Brian Moore probably got to the front too soon, and she was a bit of a sitting duck late. She ran an absolute screamer for me, given how she shaped. She was the best horse in the Oaks. But the caveat to that is she was very disappointed on her run subsequently behind Iridessa. Iridessa is a good filly. I like her. She's been slowly progressive this year when conditions haven't really been suiting her. The ground's maybe been a little bit quick, and a mile has been maybe a little bit sharp for her, but she stepped up to 10 the last day, and she won very well, beating Magic Wand and Iridessa. I'm not too sure in that form, Tom, to be honest. I'm not sure Magic Wand has returned in the same kind of order that she has in previous seasons. As I said already, Pink Dogwood was disappointing. So, and then when you factor in, she's got to step up another 2 furlongs and trip again today. I think kind of the two market leaders at the prices can be taken on.
Dees, you got anything to add to that? You always like something at a bigger price in this sort of race.
Yeah, I didn't really fancy the top two. Like I think that they've kind of. I think Pink Dogwood has definitely shown her hand now. We kind of know where she is. Iridessa, I know Iridessa and pedigree 1.5 miles should suit her, but this is her first go at it. I think she's quite a sharp price, and I was looking at one or two of the English horses as well for this now, especially with the rain coming. I think that Rafe Beckett, his two fillies have a good place chance. I wasn't too sure which one I was going to go for, so I was going to see which one Harry Bentley chose to ride. He's gone for Manuela de Vega, so that was going to be my selection.
I apologise in advance. We should probably have a chat with what we fancy before we actually go online, shouldn't we? But we haven't. But I think Manuela's got a fantastic chance here. I really do. I think based upon her run in the Oaks, when she clearly took a huge step forward for her run in the Cheshire Oaks, and then she didn't have obvious excuses on the day. I felt that she was short of room on a couple of occasions, but I think stall 1 wasn't to help necessarily either, but she kept on with a lot of promise. But if she takes another step forward with a better draw here, I think she's massively overpriced. There are double figures knocking around about her.
Yeah, she's 10.5 at the moment, and like I thought there would be a bigger move on her, especially with because I was reading up during the week, and Rafe Beckett said that their participation was completely dependent on whether they'll be soft, a bit of give in the ground. So they're both here now. I thought that, he was delighted with the run in the Cheshire Oaks, just put her spot on for Epsom. He kind of said that himself. Thought she was unlucky in the run in there. She kind of got blocked a bit. Thought she finished very well. I think that she could run a big race here at the Curragh.
Yeah, still one. I think the amount of energy she used up early. She still finished off her race really well. I think she's just a bit. She's a little bit overlooked. Now, no, if you say that the form from last time, which involved Pink Dogwood and Iridessa, on a line through that, you might say that perhaps the Oaks form isn't the line to be going on. But I still thought she was the overpriced one. What do you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think three's a crowd here today, lads, because I'm with you.
That's very, very dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. Yeah, exactly. But look, I think if there is a filly, I think she is overpriced. I think kind of a lot of the market kind of to the front of the market is correct. In terms of form, but there's question marks, as we've already said, about the market leaders. I was very impressed with Manuel de Vega at Epsom. As you said already, the draw in stall 1 wasn't a help. I thought Harry Bentley, considering the draw he got, gave her a fantastic ride for the first kind of 3/4 of the race, and she ran well. I still thought she was green, lads. She just looked a little bit green to me, like she'd still, the experience would bring her on again, and you're kind of hoping to run like that now with Crowner. In the straight it got pretty messy for her as well. She was squeezed out badly and she was blocked, but what I liked about that is she was tough. She really stuck her head out and she tried to gallop on again once she saw daylight. So look, I think the way she travelled into contention there at Epsom, I think at the prices, she's definitely the one to bet here. The kind of a couple of things I would just say about the Curragh. So far this year, front runners and prominent racers have been doing very, very well. She is a hold-up horse. That's a potential negative in the race as well. That doesn't look to have a lot of pace on in the race, so could get messy again for a hold-up horse. That's not ideal. And the other thing I'd say is kind of that 12 furlong kind of, I think they call it the Derby track, Curragh, is always on the turn. So you don't want horses wide. You don't want to be 3 and 4 wide on the turn there. You're going to be covering way too much ground. She is drawn low. Excuse me as I look down to my notes here to dig her out. She's drawn in 2. I think that's perfect. She's a strong travelling filly. I just hope that they don't crawl and she gets too far behind and she's got left with a lot to do. But I think Harry Bentley needs to be brave. He needs to jump her out there, get her settled, down the rail, and just leave her class and her change of gear late show. So yeah, look, I think at the prices, she's definitely the one for me.
The only thing I'd add on Harry Bentley's choice between Manuela de Vega and Antonia de Vega, I mean, I think even though there's not a huge amount between them at the price, I think it would have been very difficult for him to hop on the other filly based upon the difference in grade they ran in last time, however good she was, Antonia. When you finish 4th on a filly in a classic, I think it would have been more of a shock had he got on the other filly compared to Manuela, wherever Antonia is. And she obviously had a big setback at the back end of last year when she was disappointing in the Fillies Mile, the other one. And she's taken time to come to herself this season. I wouldn't be surprised were she to run a really big race as well. I could almost end up having both of them on side, I think.
Yeah, I think the rain that's going to come is going to suit her. She's got a real choppy action and going up in trip. She looked very rusty the last day when she won at Newbury, and she still managed to get the job done, beating a useful filly. I would have a small worry just with the Curragh. The Curragh, the ground has been very quick there for the last kind of 7 or 8 days, and they've been watering. And now there's rain coming on top of that. So, as a punter, that is just a nightmare situation. So I'd just be looking out, seeing how the earlier races on the cards play out and just see how it goes like that. But at the moment, I haven't backed her yet. I'll be kind of waiting maybe closer to the race. Because I still think 10.5, I think Deasy said she's overpriced. I'd be happy to back her at about 8.5 even if she went in.
Anything to add on the Irish Oaks, guys, from either of you? Are we happy?
Happy out.
I think we're good, yeah, hopefully.
Very dangerous, we all agree. I think the main play for all of us, Manuela de Vega in the Irish Oaks. You talk about being on weather watch, Dee. So, Rixie, as far as Newbury goes and the Newbury action goes, I'm heading there. We're doing this early on Friday. I'm off to Newbury today, where there looks as though there's going to be a bundle of rain there today and tonight and possibly tomorrow morning as well. And there's possible thunderstorms tomorrow. I've been at Newbury on a few occasions when the rain has come, and it can get very, very testing pretty quickly there. Now, I think it's good as we sit currently for this Weatherby Super Sprint. It could end up pretty testing for these juveniles, and plenty of them haven't tried what could be soft or worse before. You already, Declan, had a mention of the fact that I picked this race and it's one of the hardest races in the calendar to solve anyway. Well, the rain potentially doesn't help. But prices first of all, Deasy.
Yeah, no, the rain is going to make this way easier as well. So Ventura Rebel is 2.6. Never in Paris is 7.2. Mighty Spirit and M10 are 9.2. Then you have Taxawala as 14.5. Separate is there at 17.5. And then loads of them at 20 and 25.0.
I'll just kick off on Ventura Rebel as a pretty strong favourite for this race, and rightly so, based upon what he did in the Norfolk, where finishing second on similar sort of ground to that which he might face at what is tomorrow afternoon. Officially rated 107. Now, Tiggy Wiggy, when she won this, I think was officially rated 104 and carried 9 stone as well, and was seen as the good thing, and so it proved. Of all the ammunition that Richard Fahey has brought to this race in the past and the excellent record he's got in it, my goodness me, this horse is going to be very, very tough to beat. And the price you've read out, these, is a little bit bigger than I thought it might be, to be honest. And I could see this horse, given that we know he handles cutting the ground, going off even shorter than that, particularly if some come out as well. It's not a race where I would love to get stuck into a shorty necessarily, but he looks very, very difficult to beat. Now, just a mention on the draw as well, stall 7. When there's cut in the ground at Newbury, I think you could do worse than be low. And 7 is good enough for me. Quite often the races develop towards that side, over towards that far side. And I think that's not a bad draw either. I'm not saying that this juvenile is bomb-proof by any stretch, but for all I'd normally approach a race like this looking to take on a horse of that price, I wouldn't put anyone off anything like that. What do we think?
Yeah, like this is a very early market, so I mean 2.7. It's the prices aren't properly in yet. Like you might get bigger. He might shorten up considerably now once people start looking at it. Yeah, this is a very tough race. He's miles clear on ratings, but I suppose he's running better races than a lot of them. You know, there's a lot of them are unexposed, and I was kind of looking around for something at a bigger price, and I was I thought, like, when I was looking back at the past winners, I thought Richard Fahey would have, 5 of them. He's won it 2 or 3 times, but Richard Hanlon has a decent record in this as well. And the one I'm going to go for is Separate. I think he actually he came second over course and distance in his first run of the year and travelled lovely on soft ground. Has had a few runs since. I think he stepped up to 6 at Ascot. Just wasn't his thing at all. He finished down the field, but he's back down to 5 here. He had a good run on Windsor the last time behind Cox's horse, I think, Hand in My Heart, was unlucky not to win. I think he's 17.5. I'd say he'll probably get bigger than that on the day. I think he'll handle a bit of cut in the ground. I actually went the other way with the draw. I was looking back at it. I thought that you'd have to be drawn kind of higher. So I was that's why I kind of went for separate. Similar enough profile to Ginger Nut as well last year, who won it for mixed mess up. He's had a few runs, has a bit of experience. I think that at a big price, maybe 17, 18.0.
You could get bigger as well, Deasy. Ginger Nut won it for Richard Hannon last year, and she came on very quickly, and was a very good winner of that race. And you don't always get the Yard's first string winning it. Fahey's won it with his second string before. What do you think, Rixie? First of all, about the favourite, and then about anything else in the race?
Yeah, look, the favourite's very, very strong. You know, that run at Royal Ascot was good. You know, the winner, I think, had won it at Ripon the time before, and I think Timeform had a top rating because of a massive closing section that produced there. What you'd like about that run in at Royal Ascot is the fact that they pulled so far clear of the rest. You know, in terms of form, you like to see that. You like to see horses stamping their class on the field, and that's what they did. Look, the thing I'd say to that, kind of just to maybe balance the books, is, you know, in the last 10 years, we've had winners of 16 to 1, 12 to 1, 28 to 1, and 25 to 1. It can be a race where shocks happen. We're dealing with very young horses, unexposed horses, and, you know, probably, you know, still mentally weak, physically weak horses. So while I in terms of form, I think Curragh Rebel could be a shorter price, no doubt. I find it hard to back a horse that short in a race like this. I think you could probably get better 5 to 4 shots or whatever it is, kind of, you know, maybe on a football bet or a golf bet or whatever kind of punt you do. But yeah, look, I don't know. It's a tough race. I'd agree. I think the pace looks to be low. There is one horse that'd like to go forward. He's drawn high at 25. But over the last kind of couple of seasons, we've seen at Newbury horses that race to the standside rail have potentially been raced on slower ground. It hasn't been as maybe pronounced this year as it was last year. Last year's Lockage meeting was very bad. There was a massive bias there that day. It hasn't been that bad.
Just jump in on that, Rick. That is very true. So on the Friday, as we're sat recording it, Friday last year, I was at Newbury as well. I think 2 horses won from stall 1 that day, even though the stalls were in the centre. And we saw it not just on Lockage Day, but developed throughout the season. Centre to far side, and those lower numbers came to the fore. But I absolutely spot on with the point that this year we haven't seen that so much. We definitely didn't see it on Lockage Day this year. So It's not something to go in all guns blazing about the draw. Yeah,
exactly. Like there's, you know, the draw on paper and speed on paper is one thing, but obviously at punters we're sat in London and Ireland, we're all over the world. We don't know. We don't go and walk the track. You know, jockeys walk the. You'd hope all the jockeys walk the track and they try and find the better ground. You know, they could go over to the far rail. We don't know. But yeah, look, I don't know. I couldn't bring myself to back a horse at that price in a race like this, given there has been shocks in it. If I was to put one up at a big price, I'm hoping DC could maybe give it the price there while I throw out the name, is Electric Ladyland of Archie Watson's. She ran well herself at Ascot in the, what was it now? I'm blank. Is it the win? Was it Castle? Behind the Glen Eagles Colts of
Castle. Southern Hills won it.
Yeah, Southern Hills of Aidan O'Brien's. Look, she ran well. She showed a bit of speed that day. She didn't have the class, but this would be a drop in class for her. And it's interesting that Archie Watson, who's had a brilliant year with his 2-year-olds and is in good form at the moment, he's reaching for first-time cheek pieces. So that just could sharpen her up a little bit. I'm hoping, with all her experience, Archie Watson being in decent order, and the fitting of cheek pieces just potentially sharpen her up again. She's only got 8 stone 6 to carry. Ventura Rebel has to carry 9 stone. There's a bit of weight there that she's going to get from him. Maybe with her experience, the low draw, the speed, that she could go well.
I would agree that you want to have something else on board at a bigger price if you are backing the favourite. And for all I think the favourite might go shorter, as I have said, it's not necessarily my type of bet at all necessarily. It's a sort of horse that I'll let it win and go, yeah, I told you that would win. but wouldn't be brave enough to touch it necessarily.
That's it, though, isn't it? Kind of the whole mental aspect of gambling, I think, is very underrated. It's kind of.
But there will be some people out there going, the Ventura Rebel 2.75 or whatever he is. This thing is, it's going to go off even money, and they'll be getting stuck in. And that, some people will approach it that way, and fair enough.
Yeah, no, that's it. I suppose it's the proof. The proof is in the pudding, Tom.
And Richard Fahey came out himself during the week and says he kind of expects him to win. So I mean, this is once people latch onto that as well, there'll be more money for that, and that could have affected his price already. But 2.7, not for me. Rixie's horse, Electric Ladyland, is 20.0 at the moment.
20.0, and what's Show Me? A similar sort of price?
Show Me is 32.0.
I mean, I will have something on side at a bigger price because I'll be there and it'd be rude not to. And I think that he won back on the 30th of March, won the Brocklesby. The form of that's not bad either. But was then poorly drawn at Chester. Tried to give weight to Monaski on quicker ground at Ponty over 6, which didn't suit. I mean, bit of cut in the ground, and this trip is what Show Me wants. But having said that, it sounds as though Richard Fahey's not exactly confident that any of his others are going to go in, but he has won it with second strings before, so there we are. Not the easiest to solve there, but Electric Ladyland for Rixie, Separate for Deasy, and I think the favourite will be very tough to beat, but Show Me could be one at a bigger price. Do you want to do the Hawkwing, Declan?
The Hawkwing, yeah.
This is just to say that we send out a message what we want to talk about, and Declan decided to name a race after his Twitter handle, which is very good.
No, definitely not after my Twitter handle. After one of the greatest horses that's ever graced the turf, Hawkwing.
That doesn't. You replaced Hawkwing now. You are Hawkwing.
And the fact Newbury still haven't named a race in his honour is an absolute disgrace, and I'll be getting a campaign started soon.
Go on. Well, tell you what, let's do some prices first. I like the Hackwood. It's a chance for those that have gone close up in grade, perhaps just to drop back. The Tin Man's won it before. Does the Tin Man head the betting, Dees?
Tin Man is clear at the top, is 3.3. Then you have Kadim and Snazzy Jazzy are both at 6.0. Projection is 8.4. Oxted and Don Juan Triumphant is 9.6. And then you have Keystroke, Recon Mission at 12s.
Hawkwing, take it away.
Yes. Bit of a tough race, I think, just from the perspective that the two market leaders, the Tin Man and Cadem, both ran well below expectations at Royal Ascot, and they are to the head of the market. But at the same time, on their day, I think they're probably at their peak going forward. I think they're probably a class above a couple of these in the race. I actually backed Cadem in the Commonwealth Cup. I fancied him. I was really impressed with what he did at Newbury before Royal Ascot. I thought I think he won by half a length in the end, beating Oxted, who reappears today, by half a length. But I thought he idled pretty badly. I loved the way he pricked his ears late, and he just kind of said, loads left in the tank here. We're going to go on to Royal Ascot. We're going to win there. But look, Royal Ascot didn't pan out for him. I don't know what happened at Royal Ascot. I know beforehand they were a little bit worried about him maybe getting on edge with the big crowd there. And I'm just wondering, did that happen? And coming back more quieter scene in Newbury on Saturday, will that suit him? But I don't know. It's hard. I think kind of like I try my best to get away from favourites, but I just think with all the rain that's going to come there now as well, I think the Tin Man is pretty solid. He did run below par the last day, but kind of 9 times out of 10 he genuinely runs his race, runs to around a 113, 115 mark. He's a multiple Group 1 winner. He's back in a Group 3 with no penalty. He won this race in 2016 when he disappointed in the Diamond Jubilee, and now he's coming back 3 years later to try and kind of rectify the situation again. So look, I try my best to get away from him and Caden, but I couldn't. I don't think anything in this field has their class when they're on song. So I'm going to go with the Tin Man just over Cadem, even though Cadem's a bigger price, just because he's more than likely going to run his race. And, a lot of the times in racing, that is, it's trying to find the horse that will perform on the day. And I think if there is one to do that in this field, it is going to be the Tin Man.
Micheál, Deasy?
Yeah, this is a tough race. I agree with everything Rixie says, and Cadem, I suppose. that's the only bad run he's ever had. And Charlie Hill's in much better form at the moment. I think he's operating about 27-28% the last 2 weeks. But the one I came down on, and this was completely kind of the weather drove it towards his horse, Don Juan Triumphant. I think he's 6 years old now. He's getting on a bit, but he loves a bit of cutting the ground. I think it's going to be, it's definitely going to be soft there tomorrow, or getting soft. He's a juicy enough price. He's 9.6, and he's come in a small bit in the last day because of the weather forecast, I'd say. I think he's got one of the best jockeys going on board. I think he's grand the track. He liked the ground. I think at 9.6, he's a good old bet for this.
This is getting boring, chaps, but if I was going to bet one at a bigger price, Don Juan Triumphant, if there's double figures knocking around, the ground is going to be absolutely ideal. And I think the most likely pace is going to come out of one with a horse that won at York last time, Recon Mission. So Don Juan Triumphant could be well drawn. But equally, and it is all going to come down to price on the day, but if you've got the Tin Man, who is only sort of 6 or so points shorter, depending on how it works out on the day, because I think Don Juan Triumphant is going to be well supported. He's still got to find a bit to beat the Tin Man. The Tin Man's won on heavy before. That was at the back end of last year, beating Brando. Brando's, well, we know what Brando is, but he has still franked the form subsequently. He's going to be a very difficult horse to stop dropping in grade. I thought he ran okay at Royal Ascot last time in the Diamond Jubilee. He's not quite at his peak, or he wasn't in that race, but he's rated 116. And I remember when he won this race a few years ago, and he absolutely bolted it. It wasn't difficult at all. This is a Group 3. I know he was beaten at Windsor in that listed race, but that was, I think, an attempt, and he was giving away weight to try and put him spot on for his run at Ascot. I think he could be very, very difficult to stop. It would be between those two for me, and it's probably whether you've got a penchant for backing something at the top of the market or something at a slightly bigger price. Anything else to add to that race, chaps? Are we happy?
Yeah, I think we're happy, yeah. I suppose I probably should mention about the Tin Man is at Ascot, what I did notice about is he actually fly left leaving the stalls, which probably didn't help. He probably got behind a little bit further. Now that he's getting older, he genuinely goes on any ground. But I think ground with a little bit of cut in it shows it's better. That ground at Ascot that day was maybe just getting a little bit quick for him as well. But the positive thing was he shaped for the first kind of half of the race like he was in good form. He was actually pulling Oisin Murphy's arms out. He was travelling well. So I'm hoping he can get back on song. But yeah, just to add to what you said about the pace, Oxted and Recon Mission, two of those like to go forward. So it's not going to be a messy race, and the best horse should win.
Yeah, Oxted comes out of 7. So there's pace across them, isn't there?
Yeah.
I backed Oxted last time and got very excited. So there you go. And the Tin Man. So I'm on a chasing mission. So there we go. What else have we got anywhere else on the day? Before we get stuck into best pets, are we missing anything? I'm going to throw in Gingembre at Ripon in the Stella, as you do. He's worth keeping an eye on, judging by a visit to Carl Burke's towards the starter last week, where he didn't say it in confidence at all. He said it to everyone there. I think he was getting a bit. They were asking about his runners at Newmarket that week, and he was sort of saying, "This has got a chance." Somebody, so I think it was David Carr, said, "Give us something we can get stuck into," jokingly. And he back then picked out this horse. So I think that's worth keeping an eye on. Ginger, I have no idea what price this horse is going to be. He said he was going to stick first-time blinkers on it, and I assume that's happened. But I would keep an eye on that, Gingembre.
You've just let the cat out of the bag with the sound.
It's not going to be any price now.
It's probably about 4 or 11. So there you go. But look,
the chat is one for the WhatsApp service. You know that.
Yeah, sorry, chaps. Sorry, but I'd rather get it out there, and look like an idiot.
A man of the people.
Quite right too. Anything else on the day, chaps, that we're missing that you want to discuss?
I have a fancy for Sparkle Roll in Newmarket. She's running in the Aphrodite Stakes. This is a listed race. This is a big step down from what she's been running in Drundeer. I tipped her up in the Ribblesdale. I think she was 16.0 in the morning. She was well backed. Ran it into third. I think this is a big step down for her. She's going to be a short enough price now. She's going to be about 4.0, 3.75, but I think that she has a very good chance.
That is Sparkle Roll over at Newmarket. Should we do some best bets, chaps? Yes. Let's do some best bets for the weekend. First of all, Micheál, Deasy, your best bet this weekend?
I think Manuela de Vega winning the place bet in the Oaks.
Good. That's stolen everyone else's best bet, so now we've got to think on our thing. Rixie, who's your best bet, pal?
Well, I can't go with Manuel de Vega there. That was probably the best value bit. I think the Tin Man will be very hard to beat if he's on his game.
Okay, the Tin Man in the now named Hawkwing Stakes. Very good. And I'm going to go at Newbury also. I'm going to side with Curragh de Leon, who's a horse I never thought would ever be a best bet for me. But at double figures in the 225 at Newbury, I think the ground is really going to suit if it does get testing. So that would be my best bet. Lovely stuff, chaps. I think we're about there. You're not going to the Curragh Dees, no?
No, not this weekend. The trial's christening next weekend, so we're keeping the head down now for this one.
Doesn't get any easier, does it, to go racing?
No. He's 5 months old today, and I think that it's like 5 months since I actually had a proper night's sleep. Yeah, but that's all good.
It doesn't show, mate. It doesn't show. You look fresh as anything.
I do, yeah. I'm going to sleep on the desk here now. I'm going to say tell Sully that this podcast went on for another hour and have a snooze here in the nice quiet room to myself.
Dees, well done. Thanks a lot.
No bother, lads.
Thanks very much, pal. Chat to you again soon.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Thanks for having me. Have a good weekend.
Best of luck with all of our best bets. Best of luck to those of you at home, where and when you are playing, and what is an excellent weekend's horse racing. Don't forget to catch up with Don McLean and I on the Matchbook Racing Review. That'll be out on Monday, looking back at all the winners we've hopefully had. Bye-bye for now.